Hi everybody and welcome to our Thursday TNT, September the 7th, and already well into this month. Now, a lot of news stories today, but before I start, I'd just like to ask you, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel because it does more than anything else to help us along. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, 5 Star Marine up front. There's a link in the description if you'd like to avail yourself of their very fine services, taking people out on, sort of bespoke charters off the island of Phuket to investigate the islands and the beaches of Phangar. But into the news, and this story goes all the way back to 2012. I'm sure a lot of you are sick of hearing about it, but this is the latest. And from BangkokPost.com, Graftbusters implicate 15 in boss hit and run case. And the National Anti-Crime Commission has found 15 senior police officers and prosecutors guilty of mishandling the notorious 2012 hit-and-run case involving the Red Bull scion Vorayut boss Uvidya. Now, it will be very interesting indeed to see how the new government tackles this, whether they put their foot down and actually do something about getting boss back to Thailand. I mean, clearly people know where he is. The media have been able to find him without any problems in the past, but he seems to have eluded police and justice so far. Now, the people implicated include the former National Police Chief and the former Deputy Attorney General. His name's Nate Naksuk, who dropped the remaining charges against Mr. Vorayut. According to the NACC spokesperson, also named in the report is Police General Permpun Chitjob, who was named the Education Minister in the new cabinet this week. So it brings the story very close to the new government indeed. And Police General Permpun, then an Assistant National Police Chief with the rank of Lieutenant General, officially endorsed the decision by Mr. Nate in June 2020. This was considered a disciplinary violation, but not a serious one. And the actual accident took place back in 2012 when Mr. Vorayut boss Uvidya rammed his Ferrari into a motorcycle driven by Wichian Klam Prasert of the Tonglaw police station. Vorayut was then 27 years old. He drove off, dragging the victim's body around 200 metres from the scene. Following a protracted investigation, 3 charges were laid against the heir to the Red Bull fortune. Yeah, he's the grandson of one of the co-founders of Red Bull. Sort of been distanced by the family ever since, but still, he is still the heir to the fortune. His lawyers managed to secure postponements of court appearances on 8 occasions before their client finally fled the country in 2017, dramatically in the Uvidya family jet, flying to Singapore and then ports beyond. And the decision in 2020 by Mr. Nate to drop the charge of reckless driving causing death based on apparent new evidence that blamed the dead policeman for the crash ignited public outrage that led the then Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha to establish a committee to investigate the decision. So here we are, 11 years after this horrific incident, and boss still floating around the world, probably having a grand old time. Will he be brought back to Thailand to face justice? I do have a sneaking feeling that we'll see some action on this over the next 6 months or so. Well, let's see what happens. And now you are on the TNT program as we review and comment on the things happening around Thailand. And this next story is certainly sparking a lot of social media comment here in Thailand. Reported by Al Jazeera, Russian-only businesses in Thailand's Phuket spark backlash. And the story says a huge influx of Russians in Phuket is producing a backlash from locals amid complaints of a booming Russian-only economy that covers everything from hair salons to taxi firms. Many have secured long-stay visas, buying properties and establishing businesses to escape economic turmoil and the possibility of being conscripted. In July, the Russian Foreign Minister also visited Phuket to inaugurate a new consulate to handle the surging numbers of citizens seeking work and leisure on the island. That consulate's at the Royal Phuket Marina, just sort of roughly over the road from where I live. And the growing Russian presence is bringing rapid change. And that's that rapid change that's really causing all the problems, suddenly veering a lot of the tourist economy in a completely different direction. Plus, a lot of these are Russian people deciding they're going to live here, which, if they've got the right visa, of course, they're well entitled to do so. But it's made quite a sudden cultural change to the island. And down here, property prices have surged, which, although a boon to Thai owners and realtors, has made it more difficult for renters to find an affordable place on the island. Now, some of the rentals, for example, at the start of the year, I noticed some of the rentals were 3 or 4 times what they were just a couple of months before. So it has increased a lot of inflation, particularly in the rental and the real estate market here in Phuket. The story goes on to say Russian-only businesses have sprung up, often run through Russian language apps and staffed by people working illegally. There have also been reports of Russian sex workers operating alongside nightlife epicentre of Bangla Road, mainly for Russian clientele. Well, that's a polite way of saying that indeed there are Russian prostitutes working in and around the Bangla Road area at the moment. And under the heading of rubles, stay with the Russians, the president of the Phuket Van Drivers Club says we're affected by these Russians who come to run the whole tourism business. They drive personal vehicles that have not been registered with the Thai Transport Department as service vehicles, picking up tourists who book them through a Russian app offering nearly 20% cheaper fees than us. Well, here for any competition in the local transport businesses, but of course they do have to be registered, they do need to be legal. He goes on to say they make sure all the rubles stay with the Russians. And one Facebook user said these guys make it themselves, eat it themselves. Russians are stealing Thai jobs, things will get out of control if we don't get on top of it. Well, that pretty much is the theme of a lot of the social media commentary, the problem exacerbated by the fact, well, there are hundreds of flights directly into Phuket from Russia each month. Now, just checking on a sort of a long-term problem that might start to stem this arrival of Russians into Thailand, we go to xe.com and we have a look at the chart of the ruble versus the Thai baht. We go back nearly a year to October 2022, and we can see the ruble at that stage was at 0.658 to a Thai baht. But we now go to this current situation, it's down to 0.3 rubles per Thai baht. So the value has dropped a lot, and it looks like it's trending down as the Russian ruble continues to crash against overseas currencies. Now, moving on to our next story now, and nationthailand.com reporting Chinese tour agencies delighted with a free visa policy. Now, I do see a problem here. We've got a photo there of apparently Chinese people, and the man is pointing. Now, I believe that pointing is one of those occupations reserved only for Thai people. And we go on with the story, and says travel agencies in China have provided positive feedback on the new government's policy of providing free visas for Chinese tourists for a limited period. This is according to the Association of Thai Travel Agents. Well, there's been nothing confirmed about this. A lot of people are talking about it. The idea being that they're going to allow Chinese people to arrive visa-free. Currently, they have a visa on arrival, which they have to apply for and pay 2,000 baht to stay 15 days. Well, the idea to encourage Chinese to come to Thailand is to drop that and give them a visa waiver like many other countries already have. And the ATA president estimated that the free visa policy could be implemented from October for a period of 3 to 6 months. But he's hoping the policy could be implemented for 6 months to cover the Chinese New Year festival next year, when many Chinese are expected to travel overseas. However, he says it's more likely that the government would opt for a 3-month period to test the policy and study its impact and then extend it later. And he says, furthermore, the Chinese government is still implementing screening measures for outgoing travellers, both directly and indirectly. That's a slightly opaque comment, not exactly what he's talking about there. We're moving on to our next story about one particular Australian who travelled to Thailand, and that was about the end of that, when Phuket-go.com reports elderly Australian reaches final destination at Bangkok Airport, Suvarnabhumi. And on a Tuesday night at Suvarnabhumi International Airport in Bangkok, an 82-year-old Australian man was found dead in the arriving passengers terminal. His body was sprawled across 6 seats that had been pushed together on the second floor of the arrival terminal near Gate 8. Fellow passengers reported his situation to airport officials around 8 p.m. And the man's been identified as Walmut Gerard. It was estimated that the elderly gentleman had been dead for at least 3 hours. Now, the Australian Embassy in Bangkok's been informed and the man's next of kin informed. So that man coming to Thailand for a quick break, we're not really sure what his intentions were. The story finishes by saying police don't suspect anything other than natural causes led to the man's death. So that man indeed reaching his final destination here in Thailand. Going to a story now from ThailandBusinessNews.com. Thousands of counterfeit products destroyed by Thai authorities. Glasses, watches, jewellery, handbags, luggage, t-shirts, shoes, even agricultural machinery or electric batteries. Many counterfeit objects were on display before being destroyed at a ceremony organised by Thailand's Department of Intellectual Property. It says Thai authorities have destroyed counterfeit goods worth over $16 million. Maybe that should be 16 million baht, I'm not sure, but $16 million sounds like a lot. In a ceremony in Bangkok, the items included fake Rolex watches, Louis Vuitton handbags, and cosmetics. There's all the items there on display before a steamroller came and did its work, and I think all those objects had a final fiery finish. Various counterfeit items also bore the names of French luxury brands, Christian Dior, Louis Vuitton and Chanel. And the story says the fake market, estimated worldwide at $464 billion, spares no sector, including luxury, industry, food, pharmaceutical, robotics. Well, I do have to admit, back in 2012, when I first arrived somewhere along Sukhumvit Road in Bangkok, I'm not even sure why I was in Bangkok at the time, but I came across a beautiful Tag Heuer watch and bought it for, I don't know, about 1,500 baht. Operated perfectly well for about 5 years before, sadly, I lost it. To the BangkokPost.com now, flat 20 baht train fare in 2 years. This according to the Transport Minister. And that looks like me, always having trouble trying to figure out those damn vending machines. And let's see, the new Transport Minister said on Wednesday it would take 2 years to implement a flat 20 baht fare for train commuters in Greater Bangkok. So the idea being, I take it, that you just jump on the BTS and 20 baht will get you to one station or 20 stations. I think that's how it's meant to work. He also said that the operators should increase returns to the state as the government's policy would attract more passengers, which would lead to increased revenues. I don't really think the BTS or the MRT need extra passengers. At the moment, there seems to be quite a delay in getting a train at peak hour times already. If they implement this, they might even have to introduce more trains. So there's a lot more to making this happen than just changing the fare structure. And the Transport Minister said the 20 baht fare would take time to introduce because it would involve a lot of negotiating with the many parties concerned. And for a 20 baht flat fare, operators must have computerised systems capable of calculating costs and operating in an integrated ticketing system. So currently the MRT and the BTS and some of the other services floating around Bangkok all operate on individual ticketing systems, and it does cause quite a lot of problems. So I think the idea has been for a long time to try and coordinate it so there's one ticketing system, one app or whatever you want to call it for everybody. So you could just buy a day pass and travel anywhere you liked on all the electric public transport services. That hasn't happened yet. And this story notes that a 20 baht flat fare for Bangkok was one of the campaign policies of the coalition core Per Thai party before the May 14 general election. And just a quick mention of the charity birthday bash on October the 7th here in Phuket. And it's all to celebrate Sean Stenning, the owner of 5-Star Marine's birthday. But all the money raised on the day will go to Living Waters Phuket, the largest charity here in Phuket. And the idea is that you get a free ride out on the 5-Star Marine craft with all their staff, and you're just asked to make any donation, what you think is appropriate, to Living Waters Phuket. There's a link in the description below. TNT on a Thursday morning, and thank you very much for dropping in. If you haven't already done so, we invite you to subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out with the good old YouTube algorithm. And thank you to all those people that comment each day. Some of you give me a kick in the backside. Other people are happy and comment about stories, but all your comments are welcome, including people talking about this particular story from yesterday, and it was from the PhuketExpress.com. Even more mysterious debris found on Phuket Beach, and I was asking people, what the hell is that? And well, this person came up with an answer, and Robert Jones sent the channel a message. He said, on the beach mystery, it's R2D2's body parts finally found. The Empire's been scouring the universe to verify its death, and they're now looking for C3PO. Well, yes, it does look a bit like a R2D2's head. I wonder, could it be R2D2? And saying they're now looking for C3PO, well, just a bit further down the beach, a shocking discovery. Yes, a photo taken there somewhere along Phuket Beach. So it does look indeed like they've found C3PO. Tragedy here along the Andaman Coast. Well, thank you very much for watching today. Hopefully you're a bit more up to date with things happening around Thailand, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.